Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Maybe you're watching this late at night. Whenever you're watching, I just appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for tuning in to another bike ride and another life lesson. Actually, today I'm going to do a two-part today and then next week, part two of a series entitled Faith that Endures Trials. Faith that Endures Trials. I think you and I could agree that we're living in crazy, mixed up times. I mean, you just have to turn on the news a little bit or tune in to your favorite YouTuber or watch the news, listen to the news, social media, and you will find that, yeah, indeed, we are living in crazy times. A lot of what's going on may seem kind of far away and kind of, I don't know, a little distance from what you and I go through on a day-to-day basis, but I'll guarantee you that somebody listening or watching me today, you're going through something. Not sure what that is, but you're going through something. And maybe it's just something recent, or maybe it's something that's been going on for quite a while. Not sure what it is. It could be financial, it could be family related, it could be relationship related, it could be marriage related, it could be job related, it could be a lot of different things. And so, how do we navigate that, right? How do we navigate going through difficult times? Because, listen, if you're not going through a difficult time, hang on, stay in there, you will. Everybody experiences difficulties, trials, troubles, stress, you name it, whatever you want to call it, we all experience it from time to time. Now, as we do each week, and part of what we do, or a lot of what we do here at Life Lessons, even while I'm on the bike, is try to bring you a sense of hope and assurance and encouragement because of what maybe you're going through. Maybe you're just tuning in. Maybe this is your first time watching. If it is, hey, glad you're here. But I just wanted to take a bike ride today and just share some thoughts with you, because many people that I talk to are going through, a thing. Now, they may be smiling on the outside, but on the inside, they're going through a rough time. And it may be, I call it leading lives of quiet desperation. And maybe you're one of those people. Well, today and next week, these podcasts are for you. Or if it's not for you, if your things are going well for you, I guarantee you know somebody that's having a difficult time, and you can share this with them. So here's what I want to do. James chapter 1, verses 2 and 3 say this. Listen very closely now. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face many kinds of trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Count it all joy when you go through stuff. That would be the way I would put it. Count it all joy when you go through stuff. Man, I just pause for a second here. I'm sure you can see leaves are turning. I chose this drive because it's just a pretty drive. I know we're dry here in Missouri. We're pretty dry. I think we're supposed to get some rain here in the next few days, but at least at the time I'm taping this. But this is just a pretty drive. I wanted to take and talk about a faith that endures difficult times. So James says, count it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds. Trials of many kinds. Notice that. So the trials that I go through may not be the trials you go through, and vice versa. It may not be the kind of trial, it may not be the degree or the length, but all of us experience trials. So there may be times in which you're saying, where's God at? Where's God at? Where's he at? I don't understand. You know, it's like he's not even around. He's just left. Well, trust me, he's not left. He's still there. He's always there. He's always been there. Always will be there. So let me talk in this first part. Let me talk about 4 reasons why I think God allows trials and struggles. And I'm going to use trials and struggles kind of interchangeably. Why would he do that? If God is such a loving, gracious, kind, merciful, compassionate God, why would he allow you and I to go through struggles? Why would he do that? Well, I think there's 4 reasons. Number 1, I think he allows it in order to strengthen our faith. Okay? Look back again to what James says. Count it joy whenever you experience difficulties or whenever you experience many kinds of trials. Okay, I'm going to let this guy pause for just a second here and see if I can let this guy go around me, because I'm going a little bit slower than maybe what he wants to. This is a curvy road, and so it's kind of difficult to find a place to pass, but maybe I can help this guy out a little bit here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue until I find a place here I can kind of pull to the side and let him pass. So he allows trials, he allows struggles to strengthen our faith. How many of you and I say, you know, I wish I had more faith. I just wish my faith was stronger. Well, how do you think that comes about? How do you think that? Do you think it just kind of boom happens? No, it doesn't just happen. It happens through dealing with, overcoming struggles, learning how to adapt, learning how to overcome those different kinds of struggles. So he allows the struggle. In fact, 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 6 and 7 talks about that, you know, faith produces perseverance, hanging in there. Resilience, if you will, if you want to use that word. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, I think another reason why he allows struggles is to teach us to be more dependent upon him. Now, we live in a country and we live in a land and we live, you know, in a time in which we exude independence. Nobody's going to tell me what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Okay? I'm not going to be dependent on anybody for anything under any circumstances. Because if I'm dependent on someone else or something else, that means they are in control of me. Okay? So, God wants us to be dependent on him. Not on our circumstances. Let's see if I can just kind of maybe pull over here a little bit. Okay, he was turning off anyway. So, a lot of interruptions there. Sorry about that, guys. That's kind of what you encounter when you're on a motorcycle. So he wants to teach us dependence upon him, total dependence upon him. Now, how's he going to do that, right? How's he going to do that? Through life experiences, through the struggles that we face, through the difficulties, through the questioning, through the doubts, through all of that stuff is how he teaches us to be more dependent upon him. You know, it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like God saying, okay, we're going to either do it your way or we're going to do it my way. You can't have it both ways. And if you're going to do it your way, okay. You think you know more than I do, okay. And then we mess up, we foul up, you know, things get worse. And then that's when we cry out to God, hey, God, I messed this up. Help me out here. So he allows difficulties in order for us to teach us to be more dependent on him. Third, I think he allows difficulties in order to build perseverance and character in us. Okay? In order to, it's like life is a, you've heard it said, it's almost like cliche, but I think it's true. Life is a marathon, it's not a sprint, right? Life is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So he wants to teach us perseverance. How does he teach us perseverance? By what we just talked about, depending on him, knowing, trusting, relying on him that he's going to do what he says he's going to do. He's going to be there just like he said he was going to be there. But he also wants to produce character in us. See, God is not so much interested in alleviating our pain. He's more interested, I think, in watching us develop through our pain. See, because pain teaches us that there's something not right, right? Something not right. If I get a pain in my leg, that pain is telling me you've got a pulled muscle, or you've fractured your leg, or some kind of something going on. So pain is an indicator that there's something else going on. Okay? So he wants to build that perseverance, but he also wants to produce character in us that recognizes that through this pain, my character gets. You ever met somebody? I'm sure you have. You ever met somebody that is a believer, and it's almost like nothing seems to faze them. Nothing seems to faze them. They don't get overly excited about something. They don't get overly anxious about anything. They don't. It's just like, what? They just kind of go through life, but it's because that over the years they have learned how to depend on him, and God has developed that character. We talk about people like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, all kinds of different people in Scripture thousands of years later. Why? Because of their character. And when you read their stories in Scripture, you read how God was not about alleviating pain, but he was about developing their character through that pain. And the other thing that gets developed is perseverance. So, stay in there, hang in there, don't give up, don't give in, and then just watch what God's going to do. Okay? And then finally, for this part one, I think another reason that God allows trials and difficulties and struggles in our life is to prepare us for a future purpose. To prepare us for a future purpose. Now I want you to think about that for a second. Okay? You and I are limited by time and space. All we know is what's in front of us right now at this moment. Okay, that's all we know. Now we can plan for the future. We can calendar things, put things in our calendar. We can do those kinds of things. But the reality is that we don't know. We can't predict the future. Although there are many who say they can, but they really can't. Okay. Only God knows the future. And so what we're going through now is preparation for something ahead. We don't know what that is. We don't know what that will look like. We don't know when it is. We don't know what form it'll take. But God's preparing us now for something in the future. I think, as I'm talking here, I think about Moses and how Moses spent 40 years in what the Bible calls the backside of the desert, tending sheep, his father-in-law Jethro's sheep, for 40 years. Now, why? I mean, he was on the backside of the desert, which means that he was nowhere. I mean, he was in the boonies. All right, and yet all those years, God was preparing him for what he would do in leading the children of Israel out of Egypt. Okay? Because the skills and the things that he learned about tending sheep and how sheep tend to want to do their own thing, go their own way, and tend to be rebellious, he learned through that experience of being a shepherd on the backside of the desert. That's what I mean by that what we're going through now is preparation for something in the future. We don't know what it is. I've had many people, well, that's a beautiful scene. I've had many people tell me that when they look back on struggles that they've had and then their current situation, how God used that to teach them a valuable lesson. The experience may have been very painful. I've talked to people who have had very painful experiences, and yet God has taught them many things. The support of others, what to do, what not to do, who to be around, who not to be around, who to engage in a relationship with, who not to engage in and how to make good, positive, godly decisions, those kinds of things. And so what we're going through now is very much preparation for something. And again, I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is for me, so I certainly don't know what it is for you. But it's preparing us for some future purpose. I could see that in my own life, and I've shared that on these podcasts before, how when I look back over all the years, even how God brought me and my wife together and the purpose in that, and how that led to, starting college and surrendering to ministry, and then ultimately, starting a business, a mental health business, working at a inpatient psychiatric unit, which was one of the most valuable experiences I've ever had. All of that was in preparation for what he wanted to do with me. Okay, so the same thing applies. So when you and I are and I got to tell you, those years, I was like, God, what in the world are you doing? I don't understand this at all. I don't get it. In fact, I'm a little bit ticked off. I'm a little bit angry at what's going on here because I don't understand it. Okay, so think about just what those things, what I've just related to you. Why is it that God allows trials to strengthen our faith, to become more dependent upon Him, to build perseverance and character in us, and then finally here to prepare us for a future purpose? Okay, so that sets up now part 2, which is coming next week, in which we'll talk about how to build an enduring faith in times that are hard, in difficult times, in hard times. Okay? Thanks for tuning in. Hey, we'll do this again next week. We'll look at part 2, and we'll learn some more stuff next week. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.